welcome to episode 3 of the Innkeeper Diaries. It's Joel and
Britt.
And we are here again.
Whether you like it or not.
Yes, thanks for joining us on episode 3. It's been a wild ride so far and a lot of fun. We've learned a lot. We laughed a lot. It's been a good time. So today, babe, what do we got going on?
We've got a super special episode today that I am
Special?
pumped about. It's
Ooh.
special because there is a third innkeeper that has not been mentioned yet. And that would be our daughter, Maya June Jacobson.
The twist. Hey.
So we're going to interview her today about what it's like to be an innkeeper's daughter and what it's like to have, kids be part of the innkeeper life. So super excited about that. We've got a fun recipe to share with you today. And then we're also going to unpack a fun quote about biblical hospitality that has been really impactful for me over the last several months. And hopefully it's helpful for you guys too.
Sweet. Let's dive in.
Let's do it.
It's recipe time.
Today we have a gluten-free espresso brownie cookie. And sometimes I get kind of tired of making homemade chocolate chip cookies because, we make them a lot.
Yes.
And so every once in a while I like to just kind of switch it up. Also, as all of you probably know by now, if you've listened to either of our previous episodes, I have been gluten-free for a while, and I absolutely love finding healthy alternatives to good food because I'm not the kind of person that can eat gluten-free food if it doesn't taste like normal food.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want my cookies to taste like chickpeas. Hot take. So,
I don't know if that's a hot take. I think that's just a normal take.
I don't know. Some people use chickpea flour. If you're one of those people, stop using chickpea flour.
I mean, we love you.
We love you. Yeah.
I'm sure you're a nice person.
I'm sure.
But it's probably time to grow up.
But you're making horrid mistakes.
Yes.
In your baking. We use King Arthur blend because it's just the best. If you have a rice allergy, I'm really sorry you can't use it. And you're the only one that gets to use chickpea flour.
Shout out to King Arthur.
Yeah, they're
but
great.
But we're not sponsored by them.
Not sponsored by them.
We're not paid to say that.
They are the best.
We just like them.
Yeah, so these ones have a little bit of chocolate protein powder in them as well. So I have served them for breakfast in the past as like breakfast protein cookies.
Wait, you can eat a cookie for breakfast?
That's the best time to eat a cookie.
I mean, you would say that. I'm not into the cookie for breakfast.
Oh, man, I can eat a cookie any time of day. Don't even tempt me.
That's true.
With a good time.
I think Maya could too.
Yeah, probably. So, yeah. That is our recipe for today. Be sure to check it out. It'll be in the show notes. If you try it, let us know what you think. I'm really proud of this one, and I'm excited to share it with you guys.
I've eaten several. They're delicious.
Thanks,
Can't go
babe.
wrong.
My biggest cheerleader, really gassing me up.
That's why I'm here. All right. Let's move on.
Okay, friends. This is so exciting. As a mom, we have our daughter on the podcast today. She is the coolest 12-year-old that I know, and I'm just excited to ask her opinion on what she thinks about innkeeper life. The real, the raw, the honest. So, Maya, can you introduce yourself? Just say hi.
Hi, guys.
There's Maya. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to just ask you a couple questions. We're not going to make you stay here all day, okay? She's got things to do, right? You're a busy girl.
Yeah, I do.
All right, so what is it like to be an innkeeper's daughter?
It's pretty fun. I have my own apartment, and I get to do like whatever I want all the time, most of the time, and I meet a lot of cool people.
Awesome, great. To save our parenting here, I promise we don't let her do anything she wants all the time. But yes, she does have her own apartment. It's kind of wild. We have our original innkeeper's quarters that are part of our main house that was built in 1878. And then we have our apartment, which is on the lower level of the carriage house that was built in 2004. We kind of explained this in the first episode. But so Maya has her own little living room, bedroom, walk-in closet, bathroom. Do you like it?
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's gotten to decorate it. It's been pretty cool. What colors did you pick for your walls?
Bluish, greenish.
Nice. Yeah, it's really cool. She's very light mint colors. All right. What's the best part about living in a bed and breakfast?
Well, having my own apartment is very fun. Seeing lots of new people and getting to eat out with them.
Yeah, we do eat out a lot with people.
We pretty much went to Shorts. It's a brewery near us, and I think we went like every other night.
Yeah, we did.
For like 3 months in a row because we saw so many people when we first got here. It was a good time.
Was it? Although Maya ate like her body weight in cheesy bread.
Yeah, I did. It was really good.
All right. What is your least favorite part?
Also, a lot of the people. There are a lot of people that come, and it's a little weird.
Yeah, what's weird about it?
Just meeting new people. That, I don't know.
Having to be social all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, Maya's a little bit of an introvert, and that's okay. I love it. So how do you think you've grown?
I've gotten a little bit taller. I've gotten way better at baking, and I have a lot more responsibility.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Maya, we're really thankful that you were here with us today. Anything else you want to say?
No.
No?
No.
Great. Yeah, so Maya is a phenomenal baker.
She's awesome.
Has actually helped me bake several times for various things that guests have eaten. So if you have been here, you quite likely have tried a Maya creation at some point. And so...
And it's been fun to see Maya come out of her shell a little bit.
Absolutely.
Right? You've seen some new people, you met some new people, and you're like, hey, here's a cookie I made. So if you stay with us, you may get a Maya original dessert.
Yeah.
And they're the best.
They are. Well, thanks for being here, Maya.
Bye.
You're the best.
She's out.
We love you.
All right. So if you enjoy listening to the Innkeeper Diaries, we are now on Patreon, which is exciting. We've got a couple of different levels with some exclusive content, extra recipes, cooking classes, all sorts of stuff online. So we hope you'll join us over there. The link to join us on Patreon is in the show notes. So I want to read a little quote that I have come to love. It's from a book called The Simplest Way to Change the World. And this is as our kind of hospitality tip this week. So here's what it says. Let's use our homes to be micro representations of that final banquet table, places where believers gather around the food and drink God has graciously provided, celebrating that God has brought to us himself and opened that sacred space to all who are far from him. Let's become relentlessly warm and welcoming because we've been relentlessly welcomed in Christ.
That's real good.
Yeah. And so I think one of the cool parts about this is that I think we lived by a very similar mantra for, many years before running an inn. Running an inn has been definitely stretching us in our hospitality skills, but also, Maya was adopted out of foster care.
Yes.
Going on 4 years. She's been with us for 5. And I think if you had told me like 5 years ago that we would even be in a place where she could live in her own apartment, steps away from us, obviously, like she's not far away by any means. And we hang out.
Her own space.
Yeah. And we hang out together. I mean, all the time. Maya is with us always.
Yeah.
But even the fact that we like each other now is genuinely a miracle.
Yeah.
I mean, an absolute miracle.
I mean, she was 7 when she came to us. She, not to share all the details of her story, but she bounced around a few houses, went through some extreme trauma. Developmentally was not at a 12-year-old level.
A 7-year-old level.
That's what I meant. At a 7-year-old level.
Mm-hmm.
She was very, very young developmentally. So the fact that she is acting like a teenager and there.
It's so sweet and also breaks my heart at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think with even just this quote of like that, the sense of being warm and welcoming, it's hard to put into words the amount of times you have to show up in foster care even when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And so in a lot of ways, I feel like running an inn is somewhat easier than foster care. But also it brings up like the same skills. It's given us a chance to love on people from all different walks of life. It's given us a space to be prayer warriors for people who walk in our doors with heavy things. It's given us an opportunity to show Maya what true hospitality looks like, and not putting our own needs first and putting other people's needs ahead of our own. We like to say the Shema morning and night together, loving, just committing ourselves to loving God and loving our neighbor who is like ourselves. And I don't know if you have any thoughts about that.
Well, I love this quote because I think the final banquet table that it references is like, the Jewish mindset. I think it comes from Isaiah. Maybe for all you Bible scholars listening, if I get the thing wrong, don't get mad at me. But it's like in the age to come, the table where God dwells and the Messiah shows up. And I love this because when Jesus showed up, the banquet, people thought it was going to be the righteous, the polished, the people that looked great on the outside, that followed everything, that were obedient. But instead, Jesus dined, he ate with those who were on the outside. Those who were considered maybe unclean, those who were considered not part of the family of God, those who were considered too far from God. But yet he ate with them. And that's why I love this quote, because it's let's use our homes to be micro representations of that. And I think what you're trying to get at as foster care is that. Kids who may not have a home, who we saw this all the time. In Michigan, we have Mayor. It's this like almost like Facebook for adopted kids. And it's all these kids that have pictures and bios, and they're like 9, 10, 11 years old. They're damaged goods to our society. Right.
Yeah.
No one wants to bring in someone that's going to inflict pain on them, the potential of that.
Right.
But I think that's why I love this quote so much, because it's saying, let's be micro representations of what Jesus did. He walked with people who were potentially harmful, and instead of shaming them, he brought them in with love. For sure, he pointed them in a new direction. I think of Jesus saying, like, go ahead and sin no more, many of times. But I think the point was Jesus receives in love, and he sacrifices in love. And I think we're called to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that's like with foster care. I mean, we've lost a lot. There's a lot of things that, a lot of rights that families have, or, the firsts. I think of all of our friends that, my kid walked for the first time or said dad for the first time. And I'm like,
hey, we got that. She called us Joel and Britt when she first arrived.
That's true. That's true. We did get a dad and mom, but I didn't get the first crawl or the first walk, or,
I know.
I think, it's funny. Honestly, the hardest thing is we used to watch a lot of movies a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've always had this thing of like, I wanted to be the first one to show my kid a movie. And Maya's seen like half the movies that I wanted to show her. And I was like, okay. And it's like little things like that. But I think that's really what that sacrifice comes from.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Yeah.
I think you can really just open this up to really anyone. I think of like people that may have struggled with family or friends, and the beauty of just bringing them around a table and working things out, receiving each other in love and in grace. I think that's really powerful. That's really the redeeming work of Christ.
For sure. And I think that's one of the goals that we have of, even running this space at all. I mean, yeah, we've done foster care. We've, been there, done that with foster care. But like working with trafficking survivors too, Joel and I have housed survivors. We've taken them in for just a brief amount of time. We've just really tried to make our home as welcoming as possible to anybody who needs it. And I think while, yes, that's our job at a bed and breakfast, I think these are really applicable things that anyone, especially Christ followers, should be leaning into a little bit more, where it's our opportunity to love on people who don't come from the same, backgrounds or socioeconomic statuses or religious backgrounds even. I think we've been given such a unique opportunity as innkeepers to do that, but I also think that this is something that I think everybody could get better at to some degree, of just trying to take inventory of who am I letting at my table, and am I making space in my life for God to disrupt me a little bit and make me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think the last thing I just want to say is, maybe you're a Christian, maybe you're not a Christian. And, I think either way, when you bring people into your house, eat with them at your table, it just shows that you're equal with them. I think in our world, we're striving for equality, and we're striving for people to just see each other as they are. And I think the Christian thought is that, we're made in the image of God. So when you dine with someone, when you eat with them, you're looking at the image of God. And so, it sounds really simple, and I think it's easy for us to just like say that, but I think it's when you actually live that out, you start treating people more. You want to treat them with kindness and love and peace. You become less and they become more.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wanted to kind of close with that thought.
Love it. A heavier episode today, but also I think hospitality is such a beautiful thing, and I think it brings out the best and worst in people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so cute to me to see Maya, we've never had a kitchen this big. And so, I mean, to see her just want to bake all the time. I mean, I know we're going through ingredients left and right, and Joel sometimes is like, budget shapes the deal, which I completely understand because money's tight right now. But
also sometimes we bake goods and we never eat them.
Yeah, right.
So they go to waste, and I'm just like, ugh.
But man, her baking from when she arrived to now is so good. I mean, she is growing. She's getting to try new things, and this space has been so good for our family. I think, so we spent, maybe 2 years in attachment therapy, just working through some like reactive attachment disorder and some other things with Maya. And, we told our attachment therapist, we were like, okay, well, we're going to be done because we bought a bed and breakfast, and we're going to move to middle of nowhere, Michigan. And yeah, we're going to raise our foster daughter in Bel Air, Michigan. And I think to some degree, Corey, our therapist, shout out, he's great.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He was like, I'm sorry, you're doing what?
It was a little bit of a wild move.
It was wild. But honestly, it could have gone two ways. It could have been like the worst thing that ever happened to our family, and it could have tore us apart. But honestly, I feel like it gave us an opportunity to really lean on each other, do something crazy together that all of us were on board with. I mean, even Maya, as we were talking about this, she was like, no, this sounds like fun. Like, this sounds exciting. She was up for the change just as much as we were. And so, I mean, now this year has come with a lot of challenges for her. Obviously, starting middle school in a new town is never going to be easy, but we are getting used to being a biracial family in an area that's not used to biracial families. And that's just a reality that we've struggled with over the last 8 months. And I think, I guess almost 10 months, but and so we've grown significantly as a family, and it's taught us to lean on each other even in hard moments. And I don't know. really grateful that it didn't completely tear us apart like we thought that it could, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it really grew us as a family. And I think that was just a huge blessing because I think prior to this move, I think we were struggling a ton.
We were.
So it was almost like through fire, like through the refining process, you know, it's like, what is it? You throw like a metal in the fire, like gold, and all the stuff that's bad will come up on top, right? Isn't that like refining process?
I think so, yeah.
I think there's a name for it, but I think that's kind of what happened with our family. We're still we still have struggles.
Absolutely.
You know, an hour before we're recording this, Maya and I are like butting heads over something, you know, so it's not like we're perfect whatsoever. But I do think we've grown to bond, and our family is definitely in a much better place, which is a blessing.
For sure. I think the cool part is that, like, with anything like this, obviously it's going to be a struggle to some degree, and it might feel like a desert, but if you're kind of on the cusp of feeling like something big might be happening, or you just need to make a change with your family or your situation, I really do believe that God equips us through each season with what we need, and you just never know how this might impact your family or grow you in a way that does refine you and teaches you to, you know, put other people before yourself and lean on the Lord in desert seasons. And
and I think if you're, you know, looking to bring someone into your home, or if you're trying to be hospitable and you're nervous about the family side of it, you know, or maybe you're thinking about doing a bed and breakfast and you're like, well, I have kids, you know, that seems too crazy. Well, first of all, I think you have to pray and reflect and figure out what's best for your family. And I think for our experience, because we can really only speak for our experience in this, is I think we just realized that we had enough boundaries and I think intentionality with Maya to realize that we're going to make it work. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a sacrifice, and it's going to be hard for our families or our family to navigate this together. But we were like, you know what? We feel so passionate about running this bed and breakfast and the opportunity to help with the nonprofit and what this means for all of us, for Britt and I to work together, for Maya to be involved with this. It just seemed like the right move for us. And not everyone's going to feel that way. Not everyone's going to do that. Yeah, but I think okay. You know, if maybe you have a family member that needs a room and you're like, I just don't know because now my kids have to share a room. Well, when you're welcoming in someone, your kids see that too. Mm-hmm. And what a blessing could that be for your kids in order to show them what it's like to be hospitable. Because I think that's really what it is. I think we all learn from our parents and from our experiences. And I think if we can do our kids a service by teaching them, molding them, that's really just parenting. I feel like our podcast turned into a parenting podcast there.
Yeah. And honestly, if you're interested in foster care or, you know, you're kind of kicking the tires on what that could look like, it's hard. It's a hard journey, but also it's so worth it.
Yeah. Same thing with hospitality.
Yes, exactly.
It's a hard, when you're bringing people in, it's hard.
It is. You're always going to have to sacrifice something. And a lot of times it's your own comfort.
Yeah. But you gain so much more in the relationship, you build the love, you build the relationship with that person.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're around. If anybody wants to talk about foster care,
email
hit us up.
I think is our email in the show notes?
Yes, it is, Joel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Well, hopefully that was encouraging. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, a little bit of a heavier podcast.
Yeah.
But, I think it's good to kind of share the vision of why we do what we do.
Absolutely. And we got our girl on here, and she killed it.
Yeah. She's so
She's
sweet.
so funny.
If you come to stay, or if you're planning on staying with us, come say hi to Maya.
She's the real MVP.
I will say just a little side note, because people have made it this far, and I feel like I can let the cat out of the bag. But it is funny to see Maya's reaction with people when it comes to the morning, because our kitchen is connected to the space that she lives in, and she'll come out and she'll be in her PJs and her hair will be nuts. You know, classic 12-year-old. I remember back then.
She just rolled out of bed.
She
My
just
hair's
rolled
nuts
out of
in the
bed.
morning too.
And you know it's like 10:30 on a Saturday because, again, she's almost a teenager. We'll let her have fun. And so she'll like walk out the door, but when she walks out the door, she'll realize that there are guests, and she'll be like, many times she's said this, Dad, why didn't you tell me there were people here? I'm like, Maya,
You live at a bed and breakfast.
yeah, we host people for a living. I'm like, every day you wake up this late, just expect there to be someone.
Yes, they're probably
So-
eating breakfast. Go join them in your PJs. I don't think anyone would mind.
Nope. It's just fun to watch her learn and
It
grow.
is. Absolutely. We've had some good laughs.
Yes. Well, thanks for listening, friends. It's been a joy. Hope you have a wonderful week.
Yeah,
We'll see you next time.
see you next week.